The one question that most independent artists have is, how do I get people to listen to my music? Well, in this video, I will show you how most successful independent artists get people to listen to their music. My name is RJ Godfella, and I've been studying and researching successful independent artists for the past 5 years. If you want people to listen to your music, the first thing that you need is an audience. So the first thing that we're going to talk about in this video is how to build an audience, because it's very important to have an audience. You need to know who you're making music for. It's very important to know who you're making music for, right? You need to know if I'm making music for people who are in relationships, or people who are struggling, or people who are successful, or people who are confused, who are depressed, and whatever. But you need to know who you're making music for. You need to understand that, because if you don't know who you're making music for, you're actually just gambling. You're just actually putting out songs and hoping that people will find it and people will discover it and people will start listening to your music. They'll say, oh, this is a banger. You don't have to do that. The strategic ways that you can actually build an audience. You need to know who you're making music for. That's the first rule. You need to know that. So the second thing you need to know is to build a brand. I know you've heard this 1,000 times on the internet, but I'm not talking about, style and themes and whatever. We'll talk about that in another video, not in this video. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm talking about a brand is actually you knowing your audience, knowing that I'm making music for these type of people, and I have to become this type of a person for these people to listen to me. Or you don't even have to become anything. You're already that. Now, the second thing is you need to follow successful independent artists. That is very important. So you can just model what successful independent artists are doing and see how it works out for you. Because algorithms don't care about creativity. They actually care about what works. You can be creative, it's fine, and you can still make it, and you can still build an audience by being creative and being authentic. But always remember, what works on the internet is actually what the internet will push. Algorithms work like that. They push what works. They look at what works. Most artists, independent artists, they think it's corny to do what other artists are doing. They think like doing skits is corny. They just think that a lot of things that they see on the internet is corny, and they're not going to do it because they're authentic and they're here for music and they take themselves serious. But what you don't understand, social media platforms don't care about that. They care about what works. And the third thing is you need to understand yourself as an independent artist, because independent artists are very different. Some artists are very talented. They can pick up an instrument and play and sing beautifully. Some artists make mid music. Some artists make bad music, and they're still thriving in the music business. And if you're making mid music, you need to understand that you're going to have to know how to create content. You're going to have to do dance challenges if you have to. You're going to have to make skits. You're going to have to make duets. You're going to have to do what these successful independent artists are doing. You're going to have to learn content creation. That's very important when you make mid music, because you're not like talented artists who can just come here and pick up a guitar and start singing beautifully, and people will start rushing them and say, oh, this song is so beautiful. Oh my God, you sing so beautiful. No, you're not that. So you need to understand that if you're mid, you can be found everywhere. There's millions of you out there. There's a lot of people who are just like you out there. Last but not least, the fourth thing that you need to understand is consistency. I know you've heard this 1,000 times, about like 1,000,000 times. People say, you need to be consistent. Being consistent works for everybody. It works for everybody. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to post 10 pieces of content and expect to have an audience and have a successful career in the music business. It doesn't work like that. You need to be consistent. It can take you 5 years. It can take you 10 years, but you need to hang in there. You need to be consistent. You need to post consistently. You need to learn all the time. You need to upgrade all the time. You need to move with times, because that's how things work for independent artists. Being an independent artist is difficult.